Welcome to the Opportunity Podcast, where entrepreneurs come to learn from real buyers, sellers, and industry experts on the lesser-known growth opportunities to build their online business empires. We'll uncover tactics veteran online business entrepreneurs have used to build, buy, flip, and sell their way towards personal wealth. Sit back, grab a coffee, and get ready to uncover hidden growth secrets. The Opportunity Podcast starts now.
Welcome back to the Opportunity Podcast, your go-to resource for hidden growth opportunities throughout online business. We're your host. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Brandon, and thanks for joining us for our latest episode. Today, we will be speaking with Renae Christine, who recently acquired an Amazon KDP business from our marketplace in the keto diet niche. She manages a business in the baby care niche and also is growing a popular YouTube channel based around her entrepreneurial journey. During the call, Renae gives us an inside look at how she was able to double the revenue for the KDP business she acquired from our marketplace and how she masters traffic within her given industry.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. Renae was able to build a community within her niche and will soon launch an app to scale her business to gain additional revenue streams outside of Amazon search and paid traffic alone. So it's definitely a really helpful episode. Renae also gives us an inside look at how she approaches Facebook and Instagram advertising to grow her audience and what she discovered after spending $400,000 on Facebook advertising. That's mental. So you definitely want to tune in to hear how that went. But we won't give away too much just yet. So let's dig into the interview and see what Renae has to share. And then at the end of the episode, we'll go over some of the best listings on the Empire Flippers marketplace that highlight the growth opportunities we've learned about today. Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Opportunity Podcast. We are really excited to have Renae with us here today. Renae, how are you doing and where are you calling in from?
I'm fabulous. I'm calling from Connecticut. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, calling in from Mexico myself. So I'm wondering, tell me a little bit about your life and, how did you get started working online?
Wow, I feel so old. I started in 2006 when I was building other people's websites. And after all of their changes, I found out I was making like $1 an hour. So I chose to build my own website selling wedding invitations, and it just took off. I played the Google SEO game and it just went crazy. And it just became this mad addiction, the whole entrepreneur thing.
Wow, that's really awesome that you were able to kind of find your own staple in the online business space, transitioning from one to another. But so how was it that you went about finding the opportunity to buy an online business versus, say, like starting one from the beginning?
Absolutely. Well, that was just my very first business. And then I sold that one and I thought that was so cool selling it. But then all of a sudden I started running out of money and realized, oh no, I have to build up another business. That's when I was working the whole YouTube game for a while. But then I realized, wow, YouTube is my face and I need something that I can give my family. Like if I suddenly die, I'm the breadwinner and I have a husband and I have 4 kids right now. And if I suddenly die, like my face is everything on YouTube. I need something additional income for them. So that's when, but I was way too tired running my other businesses, my YouTube business and another baby shop business that I was building. So that's when I actually bought a business from flippa.com and that's the only site that I knew about that you could buy and sell websites. And I had kind of a bad experience with that. So when I heard about Empire Flippers and that you guys kind of do all the vetting work, I really, really liked that because as smart as I was, I really thought I did really well with Flippa. I was like, oh, I know all the red flags because I'd been doing it for so long. I know all the red flags to watch for, and I was taken. So when I went into Empire Flippers, it was like, okay, I'm just going to buy it and just like pray that it works. And it worked. So I was
Yeah, no, that's really great to hear that you had a great experience with us and that you went from having a bad experience with another marketplace and then it didn't steer you away from still trying to find something else that really worked for you. And I'm happy to hear that it did work out for you. Now, so can you bring us up to speed on kind of, what your current projects or what you're currently working on at this time?
So I have a million different things going on, but the main one right now with Empire Flippers is I purchased a keto cookbooks business with Amazon KDP, I was really, really excited about because I'd been stalking Empire Flippers emails. Like every Monday when you guys send them out, I would just read every single business. And this happened for more than a year, I would say, where I was like, I know I'm going to find just the right one. So when this one came up, I was really excited about it, but I waited for a long time, just biting my nails. Like, I don't want to be taken again. And Flippa.com, I blamed myself because I just missed a major red flag. So I was like, oh, there's got to be something that I'm missing, too good to be true type thing. But eventually I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. And then we got into it. And that's kind of my main thing right now is working the keto cookbooks business. But I'm trying to bring it off of Amazon KDP and more into a whole business model where you have email marketing and a proper funnel that goes to subscription-based software. That way we have the cookbooks as usual, but then actually builds and can grow into a 7-figure business instead of what it was.
That's so awesome. And it's so cool to hear how much you've been up to in this space. The fact that you're kind of balancing all these different businesses and projects and making it work is just fantastic. I'm sure I could have used your keto cookbooks as a keto failure after like 1 week. So let's talk about that business a little bit more, understand the business that you acquired from us. We like to break things down for people interested in acquiring and just talk about the nuts and bolts of it. So how did you get financing for that deal?
So I was really, really nervous. And so I was nervous about getting a loan. So for this particular one, I'd actually saved up all of my money for over a year to just purchase it outright. So I didn't even get financing. I just saved up my money and purchased it outright because I wanted the money coming in to be instant cash flow.
Well, that makes total sense. Obviously, like you said before, you'd been burned in the due diligence process when you'd done it in a different marketplace. So what was your headspace like when you came into due diligence for this deal? And what were you looking for specifically? And how did you make sure that everything checked out?
I really appreciated, I know I sound like an infomercial, but I really appreciated that Empire Flippers did the due diligence for me because I felt like the Flippa problem was my own. Like I didn't see something that I should have. So I felt like Empire Flippers, your whole main thing is that you do the due diligence for me. So when I picked this particular business, my side of the due diligence was, do I feel confident that I can take this thing and grow it in my area of expertise? I don't know Amazon PPC ads. I've never run an Amazon business. I've never run PPC ads. I've never done anything like that, but that was already built in the business. So I didn't have to know that. What I do know are funnels, Instagram ads, Facebook ads, sales pipelines, building subscription-based apps, building Facebook groups. So I almost know everything besides what the business was. So I thought if you guys did the due diligence on your side to make sure that it runs completely by itself as an Amazon KDP business, then I could take it and grow it and not just use it as is, but actually grow it into what I wanted it to be with my own expertise as well.
It's a great approach that you have in a strategy to utilizing, basically our vetting process and making sure that all of the nuts and bolts of the business are working in tandem with each other and correctly. But it's also great to see that you had a strategy, you knew what you wanted. And that's kind of an issue maybe that we find with a lot of buyers that come to our marketplace. They're not quite sure what niche or what type of monetization that they're wanting to target as far as an acquisition is concerned. They're kind of going into things blindly. And it seems like you really had just kind of a dead set goal on what you were trying to achieve with this acquisition. So that's really awesome to hear. And so I'm curious, once you did take over the business, so it was an Amazon KDP business in the culinary niche. So once you took over full ownership, what were some of the major changes or improvements that you made to the business once you had fully acquired it?
Well, first I tried to learn ads and I quickly learned not to touch those. So it did really well the first month and the second month. And then the third month, I was like, I'm going to get real smart and do better or something. And I actually lost money the third month. And then what's great about Empire Flippers is that I was able to reach out to the previous owner. And he said, I would just put those back to where they were and don't touch them. So I did. And I started making the same amount as before. But what I did to grow it was I built, those little subscription boxes that you see everywhere. They're cute and all that, and there's little goodies inside. Well, I put together a little gift box like that with 2 of the keto cookbooks in it and a couple other things like cookbook bookmarks and things and additional recipes. And I told the email list, there was like an email list of like 4,000 people, hey, come over to our Facebook group and you could have a chance to win this thing. And so that started bringing people over to the Facebook group where I could get some excitement because the email list is awesome, but Facebook group can generate more excitement. So they started entering the giveaways and it started out really small. Like 3 people entered the giveaway the first time. I think it was really, really small, but it grew. And from there, because of the excitement of that, people started going from the gift set over to Amazon to remember the cookbooks. Their, brand, it's in their heads. So they go over to Amazon to check the cookbooks. And Amazon starts promoting my cookbooks more because of that activity. And so I've actually scaled it just by doing that one small thing of saying, hey, come over to the Facebook group to win this thing. So I've actually more than doubled the revenue now just because of that, because Amazon started promoting me naturally in addition to the ads that were there before, just from this one funnel.
That's really impressive. I love that you applied a bit of creativity to this process. Of course, everyone comes in and it's like, maybe say ads or die. And obviously you had tried that at first and then went, okay, that's not the best route for me right now. What else can I do? So I really like how you thought outside the box to make that work, and doubling revenue with that is so impressive. So congratulations. Now, one thing that you had mentioned in your ROI study was that you were working on an app. And so I was wondering if you could tell me a little bit about that and where that is today, and if it's launched and if that's working into your business.
Yes, I started building an app about the same time that I acquired the business, and it's not quite finished. It's just finishing up, but now we have to enter all the recipes in. So we have a whole data team throwing in all of these recipes. So I wanted to build this funnel because the business makes enough and it's wonderful, but I love growing things. So I really want to grow it to like a 7-figure business. So as much as doubling the revenue, that's awesome. Let's just make it massive, right? So to do that, I thought keto meal planning app was definite connection between the two. And we asked the audience and they said, yep, we would love that. So we started building it and we went to a team on Upwork and they charged us $10,000. And I couldn't believe that they only charged us $10,000 for this meal planning app, but it's spectacular and it's almost finished. And I thought $10,000 to scale it to 7 figures, that's a no-brainer. You have to do it. So it hasn't launched yet, but the excitement over it is definitely there, and it will be a monthly subscription-based thing. And with that app, what we plan on doing is a free book funnel. So we have a free cookbook that we will run an ad for on Facebook and Instagram. So it's here, get your free cookbook and just pay for shipping. And we ordered all of those books from China. And once people buy that book, the next page it's oh, you should try our keto meal planning app. It's free for 2 weeks. And that's kind of how the whole funnel is generated. So instead of it just being oh, we sell keto cookbooks on Amazon, it becomes this huge empire eventually. But it is a long-term plan. I have no idea. Our motto is full speed ahead until it's done. We don't have dates or anything. We all just go until we're exhausted, until it launches.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like it's so much work to implement different type of content, I guess, with the application side of things. But it does go hand in hand with your niche. I know we do see several keto businesses that come under our marketplace, more on the content side, I would say. And then they start to implement, like you had said, a meal planning style app into the business model. But it's interesting to see the take that you have with Amazon KDP and the book side of this specific type of diet compared to just turning out blog posts on your website. So I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into Amazon KDP, if you don't mind, and get a little bit more of an idea in that realm, in that world of what you're running. So are you currently utilizing a team of VAs to help you run the business, or do you take a hands-on approach and manage most of the daily tasks on your own at this time?
Amazon KDP, the ads seem to run itself. That the whole business was so wonderful because I really thought, empire flippers, they say this is kind of like lifestyle, Larry. You can kind of just let it run itself. I didn't fully believe that. I thought there has to be something, but no, it really runs on its own. I don't really have to do anything. I do have a virtual assistant who runs the Facebook group, but that's my own thing. The Amazon KDP thing completely runs itself, and I don't have to touch it. In fact, when I touched it, I ruined it. So I do not touch it. It's wonderful.
That's really great. And so then when it comes to producing content for the business, are you writing a lot of the recipe plans or the meal planning stuff, or do you outsource this content to your VA or more on freelancers that are on Upwork and things of that nature?
One of the things that I really loved about this particular business that I acquired was that it had a whole bunch of keto cookbooks already. And then it also came with a source for the recipes, like a keto nutritionist. So I had her doing recipes for a while, but when COVID happened, she had to stop because her kid had to come home from school and that whole thing. So we paused that for a while. But in the meantime, we have plenty to do as we have all these cookbook recipes that we can enter into the meal planning app by themselves.
Awesome. So, I guess taking from what you just said, is there like a type of schedule or rota that you're kind of putting this content out there? Or is it just like seeing how things are going and then, when it feels right?
I'm really more of a freak like Elon Musk. I'm just like, go full speed ahead at some ridiculous intensity level until it's done. It's like a video game to me. The gamers who stay up till 3 a.m. playing their video games. That's business to me. So I try not to do the same thing to my VAs, but I'm always working at it. So to me, when I'm done because I clearly ran myself into the ground doing it. And you can't work harder than running yourself into the ground. So when it's done, it's done. I just have never run on deadlines. I've worked more on generosity. Generosity to me works way better in business revenue than consistency. And I know that's like a very bad thing to say because most people are like, oh, you should post, X amount of times a day and X times and da-da-da. To me, it's more content is king. And if you put out a freaking good product and if you give out a lot of free samples of that product and it's good, you will sell like crazy and grow your business. It doesn't matter the time of day that you put out the samples.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I think I was talking to another seller yesterday, and it's just so easy to underplay what just producing something good and caring about your customers and that generosity element. Everyone wants things to be, technical and methodical, and this is what it takes to succeed. But really, it's like that. It's that human element and seeing what your customers really need and making sure that their needs are met. And, you're making sales in the process. It seems to be what it's all about. So I love that you've really found out that's the secret sauce, I'm sure, being in the KDP space for a while, you're learning a ton about like the niche in particular, the keto niche. But what about like KDP? Is there anything that you're seeing in terms of like really big trends that for people getting into KDP, they should be aware of? Or, what are just the kind of things that you've learned about being in this sort of monetization?
I was really surprised at how much gearing up your own natural traffic matters to Amazon's natural search results. I didn't realize because my Facebook group is not big at all. It took me like 3 months to get 100 people in that group at first. Okay. But just those 100 people looking at my books in a relatively short period of time boosted my sales insanely. And I thought, wow, this is something I've never seen anything like this. Like Google SEO doesn't work like this, or at least it didn't way back when I loved to play the game in like 2008 before all of the changes. So I would say if you focus on anything, focus on generosity in order to get those natural boosts in addition to the PPC, because the PPC can only go so far. And then, but those natural things, like I thought you couldn't do what I did. So I was shocked, but yeah.
Yeah, I guess building up your brand and brand awareness and gaining organic traffic outside of, spending money to gain that traffic is definitely an approach that we've seen time and time again be very successful for business owners. But at the same time, there is a certain time and place, I guess, depending on your niche and your products for advertising. And that's something I wanted to dig in a little bit deeper as well. So with social media advertising, whether that's on Facebook or Instagram, what is your approach to building your campaigns or your targeting or your pixels? What is your overall strategy when it comes to advertising on social media?
I love paid ads on Facebook and Instagram. It's my favorite thing in the world. And I think if people really got into it like a video game, they would realize how many dollars can really come out of the Facebook, Instagram ad machine. It's insane. And I have spent sometimes $30,000 to $40,000 a month to get back $80,000 to $90,000 a month. Absolutely works. And there really is no trick beyond testing a $5 ad, and then it's almost like gambling. You just test a bunch, and whatever hits, you hit it again and again
Double
and
down,
again.
yeah.
You can't do that in Reno.
Right, yeah.
Once you find the machine, stay on the machine.
Yeah.
It really is that simple. But all it is putting bait in front of the right people. So we haven't started the keto ones. We're waiting for the keto app to be finished. But with previous projects, it really is as simple as, hey, here is a thing that we know you would really love, and hitting the right audience for that thing. And it just takes off. It doesn't have to be like brain science, brain surgery, rocket science, brain surgery. I can get it right, I promise. But I can run a business.
Awesome. Yeah. So more so on testing some of the cheaper ads and then going from that and doing maybe A/B split testing to optimize that campaign further? Or do you already have kind of a set of templates that work, and you just maybe change up some of the copy or maybe the promotion content for the ad itself?
So here's what I've learned after spending over $400,000 on Facebook ads. Okay. Almost nothing matters except for the picture that you're showing. I've done A/B split testing on everything, and nothing really is a game changer unless it's the picture itself. So I'll change up the picture and the words on the picture, and I'll change like the branding behind the picture or the whole image or the colors. But outside of that, when it comes to the title or the headline or the description or the link description or the link itself, make sure the link itself is not some weird. They do not care about that. If they look at the picture and they like the picture, they're going to click the picture.
Right.
I hate to ruin all of the Facebook courses out there, but it really is as simple as that.
Wow, that's super impressive. I love that you talk about it as if it's a video game, because it's one of those things that people, I think they approach ads, especially on social media, with a bit of fear. There's a little bit of basically throwing things out there, and they don't know how to make it stick. So the fact that you've been able to put that money towards ads and be able to reap your ROI is amazing. Now, I know you were saying it really just comes down to picture, but is there a difference in conversions between Facebook and Instagram, or how do those two kind of either play against each other or marry into one another?
I would just say the different target audience. My courses and content around my YouTube channel have done better on Facebook, but my baby shop has done better on Instagram. So I would just say, if you know your audience, you can easily do just 5 minutes of homework and say, what generation are they on? The Generation Xers are on this platform. The Generation Zers are on this platform. And if you know that much, and you should know that much with your product, which you don't have to nail it down to. I know everyone's your target market, you need it nailed down to the color of their nails.
We're building out buyer personas down to the very T on exactly the color of the product that they would purchase, right? It doesn't need to be that.
And you can do that, and you should do that eventually. But when you're just starting out, you just have to be what product am I selling, and to what generation, and what platform are they on? And let's just put a little bit of bait out there to see if this will work. And keep trying until something hits, and then go from there. I think too many people are trying to hit out of the park, home run on their first ad. And you kind of just have to know, okay, I'm just going to try this. Oh, that didn't work. I'm going to try this. That didn't work. It's kind of like trying diets, We've all done thousands of them.
I think that's a good point. Yeah, it definitely takes some time and finding that balance and what works, especially with your audience, like you said. Now, do you have like a plan for your advertising spend? Do you have like a set amount that you spend each month based on like, say, last month's revenue? Or is that just sort of like a moving target every month?
It's definitely a moving target every month, but I always start out with $5 or $10 a day with an ad with an audience until something hits. When something hits, I'll increase that to like $20 a day until I get return on investment. And then from there, do split testing and then scale whatever is working in the split testing.
Okay. So you do have kind of a set base or a foundation strategy that you're using for your advertising. Now, when it comes to other forms of generating traffic or, keeping things organized within the business model, do you have any tools or resources that help you kind of calculate your advertising spend or how to optimize your campaigns? Or are you doing most of the PPC campaigns manually yourself? Yeah, just what is strategy when it comes to managing all of these ads?
I used to use Ad Espresso, and that was really, really awesome. And it really taught me a lot about Facebook ads and what works and what doesn't. And it's how I learned about the whole image thing, because I split tested thousands and thousands of different ads based on different things. So Ad Espresso was really, really cool. But when it came down to the actual dollars and cents, we just kind of we do I call it a Ghostbuster trap. So we will follow the whole sales pipeline with the pixels on the page, meaning, okay, our first ad either go to like the home page or the opt-in page, and then we'll set up an audience there, and then we'll send more ads to that audience who visited that page to kind of bring them down the sales pipeline. So almost like an email marketing funnel, but on Facebook. And then at the end of the day, they should make a purchase, and that will actually show up in Facebook. So conversions from A to B, and then B to C, and then C to D, and then D to E, where the sale is supposed to come out. And see, okay, there's 30% conversions here, there's 20% conversions here. And at the end of the day, you can see, okay, are we making money or losing money ultimately? And if we're making enough money that we can spend more on the ads, then that's when we'll increase it. But I never have like a magic number beyond we won't spend more than, well, it depends on what we're selling, because $1,000 course, you can spend a lot more on ads than like a $10 baby product. So it depends on what you're selling, but I'll take it through all the way to the sales to see if we're making money or not making money.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really great to see that you have that approach to basically optimizing and managing the ads themselves. And you're also able to see where your conversions, or maybe where you're even having drop-offs from completing a conversion. And then that ultimately helps you just to optimize things within the pipeline as well, too. And that's great. So outside of the advertising approach to gaining traffic and doing some of the organic traffic to gather more eyeballs to the business, are you doing anything with the email list, or doing any forms of email marketing, or have you monetized the email list? Or was that, part of your strategy from the beginning? Or is this something that you might be just starting to venture into a little bit now?
I'm huge on email marketing, but I haven't used it a whole lot beyond pushing them to the Facebook group to get in on the giveaway to try to generate some excitement. The previous owner had somebody set up who sent out like Friday keto bullets, but people weren't really opening them. They weren't really clicking on them. So I thought, kind of need a new strategy with this. And I think they were also doing some affiliate marketing with it, but it wasn't making any money. So I thought we need to spend our time somewhere else that's going to generate a lot of revenue instead of like a few pennies here or there.
That's awesome. I'm curious, I'm just hearing all this stuff about, how you've really mastered kind of all the bits like email and ads and social media. I'd imagine that you might have an idea of where you think things might be going heading into 21 or 20. What year is it? 2021? No one knows anymore in the pandemic.
Yeah, thanks to 2020. We lost a year there, right?
Yeah.
We really did.
Yeah.
We
It's
really
going to be like the
did.
new 2029. We're all it's going to be 2020 every year forevermore.
Right, yeah.
Seriously. Yeah, no, I completely get that. Because that's the thing. It's something we've talked about a lot on the show, is like that it gets really hard to predict trends when this has probably been one of the most unpredictable time periods we've ever lived through. So a little hard to do, but perhaps you have an opinion. I was wondering what you think might be the biggest social media trends that you're seeing, moving into this year and beyond that say you're utilizing with your business, or you're just seeing it become a trend in general.
Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of scary trends. I can tell you that much. I'm kind of underground with stuff like that. My 16-year-old will tell me if a trend is really important, because I really think that business foundation is way more important than any trend. And one of the reasons I picked keto in the year 2020 was because I thought everyone will always be trying to lose weight, no matter what. So that will always be a trend in and of itself, which is why I chose it in 2020. But as far as new projects or new apps or new platforms, I don't know. I'm not huge on keeping up with that stuff. I figure by the time I hear about it, it's way bigger than like TikTok. I was like, I'm already, I can't do TikTok.
My day is already pretty packed as it is. It's just to add something else for me from what I need to do.
Exactly. To me, it takes away focus, and everyone should have their platform. Like you guys have your podcast, I have my YouTube. So if I got off of YouTube to do TikTok, it probably wouldn't benefit me as much as if I just stayed on YouTube and stayed focused on YouTube.
Yeah, it's making sure that you're focusing on really what's going to give you that nice return, and not just our business lives, but also in our personal lives as well too. And taking the approach on your social media take, it's really interesting, your story on, how you're going all in on, Facebook and Instagram advertising, and with Amazon KDP, that's getting people into your funnel and ultimately getting to the books and the courses that you also offer. So I'm curious, what is your take, or what do you see as maybe some of the outlining tips that can really help KDP owners improve their social media strategy? Do you suggest sending people to a Facebook group to get a free product, as you've mentioned as your business model? Or do you see maybe just the fact that you're able to get more traffic through social media, through giveaways, things of that nature?
That is huge. I've noticed that if you can grow an Instagram following, it's easier to do ads to that Instagram following. So even if, for example, keto, if I post really yummy pictures of keto meals, people will follow my account just to see those yummy pictures. It makes it a lot easier to advertise to those exact people later, even if there's not a connection between my account and the meal planning app that I'm doing, because I'm going to get to know them and I'm going to know, okay, they're going to love this, and I'm capturing the exact people who would get in on my keto meal planning app. So with social media, I think it's more about getting them off of Amazon through a lead magnet. So in our books, there's in the front of them, it's like, get these freebies over here and enter your email. That's how people originally get onto the email list. And then from the email list, they get pitched the whole, you can get a free gift set. If you come over here, you can win it in the Facebook group. And then from the Facebook group, it actually circles back to Amazon, because the Facebook group were like, okay, if you review the books, by the way, you'll get extra points for the giveaway. So that in turn brings people back to Amazon. And it's just this circle, and it just goes round and round and builds into this huge cyclone that way. And I would definitely tell people in KDP that if you're not adding sales funnels, then any sales funnel, it doesn't have to be that one, but if you study sales funnels in general and find one that will work, then you have more than just an Amazon KDP business relying on ads. Then it's something that you can sink your teeth into, pass it down to your kids. And it almost doesn't matter if Amazon kicks you off, because you have everybody off of Amazon where, okay, I can move on to the next platform or whatever, because I have my audience everywhere else as well.
Yeah, that's such a great point. We hear about that a lot from like the perspective of, I guess more like an e-com perspective, where you say FBA and everyone's relying on Amazon, and they're thinking, right, like, how do I become less reliant on this platform that, as stable as it is nothing's ever truly stable. And I wonder how many KDP owners are actually thinking the same thing. They're kind of like, they have their engine running on Amazon, and they're not necessarily thinking of like, well, how do I build my audience off of here just so I don't feel stuck to Amazon. So yeah, I think that's a great point, that you've been able to build that audience. And I love that you're in a niche where you can do that. Obviously not everybody KDP niche is going to be like ideal for building an audience, but I think you've really found like a secret
that's
balance.
true. That's one of the things I looked for when I went to acquire a business, though, was I was like, who's the audience? Do I know the audience? Because if you look at a business on Empire Flippers and you're like, who is this business for? And you can't in like one or two sentences say who this business is for, then you might not be able to run it. And especially if you're new at business. If you're brand new at business in online business and you're scared and you've never run anything like that before, you want it to be as simple as possible. And that's like a no-brainer that way. If you can say who the product is for and what type of audience you can build from that business, that's probably the best due diligence that you can do when looking for a business to acquire. Is it acquire? Acquisition?
Acquire? Yeah, either one. We use both words. I guess we use them, pretty sporadically as well. So.
No, but I think that's such a good point because it does kind of come down to personal preference, doesn't it? Because you came in with the hat on of like, I am going to build an audience where, I mean, some buyers are going to come in and they're like, how do I talk to the least amount of people possible? They're not an audience builder per se. They just want to say, here's my product that I sell. I run some ads. I'm not really thinking about, say, the customer base. Certainly in the niche that you're in, having a bit of like a presence and a bit of a community to build is so essential and is why you've been able to double the revenue as you have. So it's good. But yeah, sometimes it does come down to like what you want when you come into it. I'd love to ask just a personal question about how this has shape-shifted your life. You said earlier that working on this business, you're not necessarily having to spend many hours a day. Of course, you said a little bit of Elon Musk where it's like you're just all in all the time. But, if you really wanted to step away, the business could run itself. So like, what are your hours looking like currently on the business and work-life balance look like for you?
So while I am working insane amount of hours on the keto business that I acquired, I'm working almost no hours. I would say maybe 1 hour a week, maybe. And that's mostly answering questions from my VAs about the recipes that they're entering in, because it really does run completely on its own. We're going full speed ahead, but for this part, for entering recipes, it's more my staff is going full speed ahead while I'm working full speed ahead on my other businesses. That's what I love. I love working full speed ahead on what I want to work. Don't tell me what to do. I want to work on what I want to work on. But that's probably one of my favorite things about purchasing this company was I really was not expecting it to be this hands off. I wasn't expecting it to be this easy to run. I wasn't expecting the growth that I was able to do just by doing a few tweaks. I'm really happy about it. In fact, before I acquisitioned the business, I wondered, because I've built so many businesses since like 2006, and I love to build them from the ground up. And I purchased this business and I thought, man, this is so expensive. Like, I could probably build this business for less than I could buy it. But as soon as I bought it, suddenly I realized why people buy businesses instead of build them from the ground up, because of the amount of work it takes to build it to that point versus what comes out. And I was getting money right away after I bought it. And I thought, oh, yeah, when I built a business, this did not happen. Money did not come out.
Yeah, no matter what you're building, whether it's brick and mortar or online, it's hard to make money from day one, right?
And it's taken me a year or years whenever I've built anything. So I was like, oh, this is really cool. And now I just want to buy everything all the time instead of build it.
Oh, I love that. I think a lot of people have a hard time wrapping their head around that concept. You saved your money for a year to buy a business. And I'm sure, people in your community or your friends or family might have been like, are you insane? You're going to put all your money aside and then just sink it into some like business. And obviously you get to come back around and be like, no, but look what I've been able to do with it. And look at how much time I've saved by not having to build.
Yeah. So it's a risk, right? It's a total risk. And everyone always says the riskiest thing that you can do is buy a business. But when I saw this, I was like, is it a risk though? Because I know this stuff. It was almost having to believe in myself instead of listening to everybody, because you're right. Everybody, I mean, I didn't ask their opinion, but if I did, they'd be like, you're insane. You are insane. They could just shut you down. I'm sure you've heard it all. What if Amazon decides to shut you down? What if suddenly keto goes away? What if X, Y, and Z? But to me, this has done a better ROI than real estate investment, which everybody talks about and everybody loves. But guess what? I've never done that. So I've done better at this. And to me, this is a less of a risk than real estate investing because I've never done that.
Yeah, exactly. It's about leveraging what you know and like you have natural talents in things that I think a lot of people would shy away from and like ads and social media and things like that. And it is about leveraging what you know and probably not asking the choir what their opinions are because as we all know, so many people are not familiar with KDP, not familiar with what it takes to build a business on Amazon or the fact that you could buy one. And you probably would have been more likely to be deterred from doing something that would have been really good for you had you sought out counsel. So in a way, I'm glad you didn't. I think you've answered it some way, but I did want to ask, I think it's just incredibly impressive what you've been able to build. And this business is only like one part of your machine and that you're running so much at once. You have 4 kids at home. So I pretty much already think you're a superhero. I'm wondering like how buying a business has just changed your life and helped you to be able to take on all of these things and all of these projects. And basically, I'd like to think help you create a life that you like living.
Yeah. So personally, it's been quite wonderful because I haven't had the normal pressure that I normally have from my YouTube channel because it's almost like sensationalism. Like you find out what people want to watch and then you have to make that thing. And usually it's a very, very difficult thing. It's a very time consuming thing. You have to have a lot of energy to get that one video out and they want those videos all the time to continue to make the type of money that you make on YouTube or through the courses and through that whole funnel. So purchasing the KDP business, and this was only 7 months ago, by the way. So 7 months ago,
Wow.
I more than doubled the revenue. And I was really, really worried that it would take me so much time to make that money back. But I've already made back a third of what I purchased it for in that 7 months. So it's really helped me to relax a little bit on the YouTubing stuff. I'm able to enjoy that more, not care as much about the sensationalism. I can kind of do the videos that I want to do in addition to the videos that they want to watch. And I started a new YouTube channel with my husband, and I don't even care if anybody watches it because I have this new revenue coming in through this keto business. And I know that it's going to continue to grow. And I've been able to pull out a little bit because surprise, surprise, I'm actually quite an introvert. It takes a lot to get me out of my shell. And I'm all over YouTube, but it's because I record alone in a room by myself. And so to be able to take myself away a little bit from the pressure of that has been life-changing. Like I used to have panic attacks and the whole thing, which, I don't like to say all of that publicly, but it's wonderful purchasing something that runs on its own that I can grow if I feel like it. If I don't feel like it, it's like, I don't feel like it today. I'm just going to take a break. But of course, I'm like psycho and I always feel like it. But if I didn't, if I wanted to go to the beach, okay, some of us don't want to go to the beach. Some of us like working. But if I wanted to go on a cruise, I could.
That's awesome. I want you to bottle up your motivation and just start selling that on Amazon. I would definitely buy that product. Definitely need that some days.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. I love hearing your take on everything and the fact that this has really helped you to be able to find that freedom to go after those things that you want and do things when you want to. I think there's nothing better than that. We have just like a couple of rapid fire questions we like to end these things up with. So my first question for you is, what advice would you give first-time buyers who are looking to acquire an Amazon KDP business?
I would say, I'm just going to talk to myself. Okay. If I myself was looking to buy again, or let's say I didn't buy this deal and I was looking to buy one, I would say to watch for a funnel from Amazon KDP to an email list. There needs to be some sort of audience built besides just the Amazon KDP, or I probably would not have purchased it, because ads by themselves to me is very combustible to invest in. But if you purchase a business where that person had set up a lead magnet inside their books over to an email marketing software and it's working, it doesn't have to work a lot. Like it just has to be, functional. It works. The links work. People are, every now and then signing up. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just, few people are signing up every now and then. That to me is pretty much all you need to make sure that like it's a good deal. that's pretty much all I looked for myself. And of course, I actually looked at the cookbooks and wanted to see that I liked them. Besides that, I wanted to be proud of the products that I was purchasing, but that was an aside to the email list thing. But besides that, I would say that Empire Flippers does the due diligence on everything else.
Yeah, no, it's important. I guess what you're kind of referring to is that to at least have some slight passion for the business, right? For some buyers that might be on the Flipper Fred persona side, it might be purely transactional where they're just looking for an ROI and something that they can flip in 6 or 7 months. And that's fine. But when it comes to doing your due diligence and looking for that first time business, it should be something that you do have a passion for, that you do want to grow. And then that there's also an audience that you can connect with, right?
Yeah, that would just be my advice. I know that other people, they just want to buy something that will, like a money tree.
Right.
I'm not really interested in money trees. I'm interested in buying a video game that produces money.
That you actually enjoy playing. You'll pick up the controller and actually play, mess around with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Not like Mario Kart coins. I want real coins.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, that's really awesome to see your take now. So I'm curious, managing, multiple businesses, it can get pretty hectic at times, I'm sure, on top of raising a family of 4 children. That's really crazy to try and manage multiple businesses. I'm sure some of our listeners are like, wow, this is crazy to hear this story. But yeah, I'm curious, are there any tools or resources that have helped you in your business life that, you find that you're using on a daily basis now to really help you manage having so mane projects going on at the same time?
Yeah, I found that if I have Slack and Asana and Dashlane for passwords and Time Doctor, between those 4 softwares, I pretty much have everything I need to manage a staff of 1 person or 300 people.
Yeah, no, it's really good information. And I'm sure, our listeners can gain value from that, just to keep things organized as well. Because when you're new to online business, I guess it's difficult to keep that time management down to something that you're not, wanting to shoot yourself in the foot after a week of 40 hours and putting in time on these businesses. So that's really great to hear that, you have some of those resources.
Yeah, because if you can systematize it, if you can systematize everything between those apps, there are some employees I haven't talked to in like 3 months. So, but I know they're working and they like not talking to me and I like not talking to them. And it's awesome.
Yeah, it works out for both parties.
Do what we want to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. Well, final rapid question for you to wrap this up, Renae. So what has been your funniest moment working online as a digital entrepreneur?
I would say once I gave this live webinar and it was in front of, I think there were like 3,000 people on the webinar, and it was quite a lengthy webinar. And I finally said goodbye to the audience, and I thought I had turned off my mic.
Oh, no.
But I did not. And I turned around and I told my husband about how bad I had to use the bathroom, but I used some very choice words. Yeah, the comments went absolutely nuts. And it was right after I put in this like really inspiring, like cue the patriotic music sales pitch. It was wonderful. And then it was like, yeah, that was really embarrassing.
Oh, no.
Well, everyone remembered your speech, I'm sure, more so than the comments after. I'm sure of that.
Oh, people still talk about it, but they just say, oh, Renae, you're so real.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great.
That's the thing. I think that's a nice, it's a human touch to it. It's like, you know what? I almost like this person more because that just happened. I'm going to buy their product. That would be me. That would be me in the audience. So
how to increase ROI.
Yeah, seriously. So it's, the vulnerability thing, right? Like sharing a bit of vulnerability and having something funny happen. It's definitely a way to be remembered and people to think about you and your product. So way to go.
A long time ago, I tried to be like Marie Forleo. I don't know if you know who she is, but when I first started my YouTube channel, I tried to be just like her. And like, she's very graceful. Like she's a very like suave person. She's smooth, and I would try to be just like her. And everyone kept saying, you're so funny. I was like, I'm trying to be serious. Stop calling me funny.
It's not the persona I wanted.
I was just like, yeah, my brand is better than that. Then I just gave up. You get what you get.
I like that though. I think sometimes being funny and relatable are some of the hardest things for people. So if you already have that naturally and in spades, like there you go. That's your selling point right there. So I think it's a good thing.
I'll take that.
Hardest things in life, being relatable.
Yeah.
Well, also, Renae, this has been so much fun and so cool to learn about the business you acquired from us and everything you have going on, full engines running. So if anything, Hopefully your next business model is selling some motivation. Please come to us first. We'd love to buy some. And
in a box subscription set, please. Keep that thing going.
Yeah, the box subscription set. That'd be amazing. And yeah, it's been really great. I think this is going to be really inspirational for a lot of our listeners. So it's just been wonderful to have you on.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Thank you so much.
Awesome.
Hey everyone, as promised, now that we've wrapped up the episode and learned about how you can step up your social media advertising and build a community within your niche, we wanted to connect you with some of the best listings in the display advertising, KDP, and content space. So first we have listing 51457, which is an Amazon KDP, Amazon Associates, and display advertising business in the romance niche. So what I really liked about this particular listing for this week's episode was that it has 2 email lists included with over 18,400 contacts stored in Aweber. So this is a goldmine of an opportunity where someone with a little bit of email marketing background or know-how could come in, create optimized campaigns for the lists and segment them further to gain a better ROI and also a better conversions with their email campaigns. So the seller has already built a solid foundation in gaining plenty of traffic through the email lists and has also included SOPs for the content creation and the business's operations. So this is also a huge benefit to a potential buyer as the standard operating procedures will help them to ultimately scale the business further and hire other outsourced writers if they choose not to use the contacts that the seller has also built as well for this business, along with some editor contacts. Now, the business primarily generates revenue through Amazon KDP, and then Amazon Associates is coming in at 8% and newer media display advertising 1.3%. But the fact that Amazon KDP generates 90%, a little bit over 90% of the business's revenue, that's a similar story that we had just heard from Renae, where you could ultimately run some of the similar sales funnels or maybe even a few of the off Amazon campaigns that she had mentioned to gain some more traffic into this business and then ultimately scale the business similar to what Renae had also spoken about doing with her keto business. So this is a great opportunity for someone to come in, utilize some of the tactics that we learned in this episode, and then ultimately push the business to its full potential.
Yeah, that's great, Brandon. Hearing you talk about that, I always think, if this business was in the hands of someone like Renae, I think they'd really crush it and knock it out of the park, especially with the foundation that they have here. So, if you listen to this episode and you're inspired by some of the growth levers that Renae had pulled for her KDP business, the business that you just mentioned, Brandon, I think would be great for those kinds of buyers. My listing is listing 50232. It's a display advertising and affiliate business in the lifestyle niche. So the reason that we picked this one is that it really had a lot of those areas that I think it's going back to paid traffic and social media platforms that foster community. That's really where the opportunity is with this business. So first off, some things I really like about it, it's got an email list already. There's 2,800 subscribers in ConvertKit. And then the social media accounts are Facebook and Pinterest. Pinterest is super suitable for this business in particular because it's in the lifestyle niche, and that's really where lifestyle businesses go to flourish. So really what's really exciting about that is that currently, like Pinterest, there is the base, but there's just more room to grow it. So somebody who's hungry to grow a Pinterest business, this would make a really great opportunity for them. Something else I really like about the business is that it's got solid advertising revenue. So the site makes 99% of its revenue through Mediavine and 1% through ClickBank. As most people know, Mediavine is definitely a really solid ad network, and it's usually the one that a lot of content sites aim for when they're trying to get ads on their site. So that's an indicator, because Mediavine's a little bit picky with who they let on, and you need to hit the kind of traffic metrics in order to actually have Mediavine on your site, that this site has passed that threshold and is doing quite well for itself. And then, it's still got really nice diversified traffic. The marketing channels, we've got organic search coming in at 63%, social at 26%, and direct at 9%. So that social 26% is indicative that there's a strong community around this business. And something like that in the right hands, you can really take that and run with it if you're interested in, lifestyle or community-driven businesses. So again, I think that really suits this episode. And, if you really liked what you heard from Renae's experience, this business might be a good one for you. So I think that just about wraps up this episode, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in with us again this week. We hope you've gained some valuable insight into the opportunities that digital acquisitions offer. Click the link in the description or visit empireflippers.com/marketplace to learn more about these businesses or other listings currently live on our platform. And if you've enjoyed this episode, be sure to leave a comment and subscribe to this podcast, and make sure to leave a review if you're liking what you're hearing. And more content will be released soon. So until next time, we're your host. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Brandon, and thanks for tuning in to this week's Opportunity Podcast.